Steve Ensminger, Bo Pelini, obviously, with a great first stint as defensive coordinator. And anytime you're tied to a national championship team, then you're going to have a certain place in LSU history. But Steve Ensminger played there, and now for the last 11 years has been an integral part of LSU's success. He leaves the program to a certain extent for different reasons.
Yep. It is probably time for him to step aside. It's not anything to do with his performance, but his father passed away a few months ago. This is a guy who spends pretty much every day and night sleeping in his office for the last 11 years that he's been at LSU. Even before that, with Auburn, when he was coaching guys like Jason Campbell, or at Georgia, where he was coaching Eric Zier, another SEC record breaker right there. Ensminger has a fantastic record. He learned under Dick Vermeil with the Philadelphia Eagles. Vermeil let him stay in there for a few extra months, even after cutting him from the roster as a quarterback. Dick Vermeil saw something in Ensminger and was like, I need to help this guy. So he let him stick around in those meetings, and Ensminger, he took voracious notes, everything. He wrote down everything, and those notebooks stayed with him until a hurricane took him. But all of that knowledge then became up in here. We saw Ensminger absolutely destroy SEC and college football defenses, 4 number 1 defenses last year, for 40-plus points in some of these games, 50-plus in others, 60-plus as well. I mean, on the day he loses a member of his family, the wife, the fiance of his son, he goes out there and destroys, nuclearly eviscerates Oklahoma for 63 points. The man has intestinal fortitude unlike anyone. And he's a real man, because here's the thing. He knew it was time to step aside, but it was time really to be with his family more so. That's what this is about. And he's going to shift more to the analyst role, but this decision was up to Ensminger. I had multiple sources, and this isn't just from reading the headlines or anything like that. Multiple sources were telling me, including very, very close to the Ensminger family. Ensminger family knows exactly who I'm talking about. They were telling me this decision was up to Steve. This was not Coach Orgeron saying you're done, you're out of here. Coach O and Coach Ensminger are huge, close friends. This was a very delicate situation. It was about what needed to be right for LSU. Was this the time for Steve Ensminger to leave? Was this the time to get younger on offense? Was this the time to hand a certain assistant on staff the keys? That was up to Steve to decide. And I think that was a beautiful way to let that play out, because Steve, he did what was right for LSU, I believe. As much as I feel like an Ensminger-Callaway offensive trident would be fantastic, I think Steve Ensminger's family need their dad. They need their father around. And I think it's great for some family time for the Ensminger family. I think Steve's been missing his family. I think it's time.
For those of you that aren't familiar with the story that Lon alluded to before, it's a heartbreaking story. If anyone remembers just going back 1 year to the college football playoff semifinal against Oklahoma, just imagine arriving and being involved with the team, Steve Ensminger, the offensive coordinator of this team, preparing for that magnitude of a game, being, of course, heading to the site much earlier in the week and being involved in football activities, and learning that your son's fiance had traveled to the game earlier that day and had died in a plane crash. Oh my goodness.
It was so surreal.
Yeah. Crazy. Wow.
For him to go there and deliver that performance, I think LSU fans take that for granted. I think LSU fans, once Ensminger's gone, they're going to realize just who they lost. This is probably the most aggressive play caller in college football. The only mistake he made was trusting Scott Linehan too much this year. On offense, though, replacing Steve Ensminger, there's only one man for this job. There's only one man for this job. As much as I'm being told that it's going to be a co-offensive coordinator role in the same vibe as Ensminger Brady, I don't see that. I just don't see that. There's all these, Phil Luongo. There's all these names out there. I don't see any of these names being the guy. There's only one man for this job, and his name is Russ Callaway. He's already on staff. He broke records at Samford. Unbelievable guy. He has the trust of the players. He has the love of the players on defense too. He won 2 national championships as a defensive analyst for Alabama. So this is a guy who understands both sides of the ball innately. This is a guy who worked very well with each freshman quarterback, and I really think Russ Callaway, whether he shares the duties or is just the sole offensive coordinator, Russ Callaway has to get that job. I don't think it would be fair to just promote him up to passing game coordinator and then put some big name that we're unsure of above him. No, this is Russ Callaway's job. DC, I think it's Ryan Nielsen or it's Derek Mason. That's right now. Things could change.